Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to part 2 of the Pre-Scene Company or Snackwheel Understanding series of videos. As I mentioned, we are looking at it from 5 different angles, and this is the second part. But before I get started, a quick reminder to any of you who are engaging with the self-study content, you can always visit the official website www.cimascs.com to learn about all the ways that you can engage with the program, absorb useful content, understand the structured approach of the main CIMA SCS with AZB coaching program, etc. And even get additional support as the exam is getting closer to you. Furthermore, a gentle reminder that the self-study content folder is also available, for which you can get access through the link in the description section and the official YouTube playlist, where you will find a lot of useful content that I've developed over the years that has helped thousands of students. On that note, let's get started with the second part of the discussion for the pre-scenes or relevant to the pre-scenes introduction to understanding Snackwheel. And in this video, we will be looking at very closely Snackwheel's IT system, which plays an integral role, a very, very critical, crucial role in ensuring that Snackwheel is a functional, and not just functional, but functional at a world-class level in West area. Snackwheel has a highly integrated, and integrated is important. Integration, IT integration is a significant element for a mobile app or web-based, internet-based company like this, because you're basically a virtual platform, which Snackwheel refers itself as well. Generally, Snackwheel has a platform, and what that platform does is integrates stakeholders, integrates people, integrates systems. So it has a highly integrated IT system, which is a no-brainer, that enables it to offer customers an efficient service. That integration involves extensive connectivity across the key stakeholders or hubs in the value chain. So when you look at the key stakeholders or hubs, right, who are the main points of integration or points of interaction in this value chain? First, you have the data center, which is at a secure location with significant high-speed bandwidth for external communication. So data center is the central body, central element, central aspect of this entire network. The data center is backed up in real time to a hot backup site. That's quite prudent of Snackwheel to do, because for a company that depends on the integration and the IT system so much, the data center will have to have a hot backup with real-time duplication capabilities, just so that if something goes wrong, you can immediately transfer. Customer, which is the second point of contact, required to install an app or log into the website in their smartphones, tablets, or personal computers, and they can place orders using their devices. Then you have the restaurant, which receives orders via a hardware device supplied by Snackwheel. The device is effectively a tablet that connects to Snackwheel's data center using mobile phone networks. And these restaurants can, if they wish, integrate their Snackwheel tablets into their point of sale software, or they can use them as standalone devices. So what that means is that if you are a restaurant partner, right, if you are Taste Burger or Steam Pizza, and you work in one of the outlets and you integrate your outlet, it means that your integration happens through a tablet that you receive from Snackwheel. And what this tablet does is it takes care of everything, receiving and sending information and data. But the further capability that Snackwheel provides is that either you can use this tab simultaneously as your point of sale POS system and the Snackwheel communication hub, or you can use it as a standalone device and have your own POS system. I think I've seen both in certain companies, but you usually see fast food restaurants seeing a benefit that they can reap, especially if they have one partner, if they have one delivery partner. Like in this case, Taste Burger might be only working with Snackwheel. In such a case, integrating and having the POS and having the delivery partner in the same system, in the same tablet, can be very helpful, rather than, two people, or either you will have to employ multiple people to engage with the two devices separately, or you will have to have the one person or the two person simultaneously just moving between the devices. So it can take out that extra hassle from the staff of the branch. The fourth, so first we have data center, customer, restaurant. The fourth is the courier. Snackwheel's couriers use a separate app to receive instructions and to return data to the company. All right, so first we are going to focus on the data center. The data center, which is the most important part, the most critical aspect of this entire IT system that Snackwheel depends so much on, which makes cybersecurity a serious threat that you have to learn about and consider very seriously in this particular pre-scene. Two functions of the data center. On the one end, it manages capacity, and on the other end, it manages the operations. So how does it manage capacity? The data center software keeps track of the number of orders placed at any given restaurant that have not yet been dispatched. So keeping track of the pending orders. The software uses an algorithm to estimate dispatch time for any further orders that are received for that restaurant. So estimating dispatch time. If the food will not be delivered on time, then it warns the customer and offers a choice between accepting the delay and or cancelling the order or ordering from a different chain's menu. So offering the customers three options: either waiting, either cancelling, either ordering from a different menu. And the software also keeps track of the availability of couriers who are available in each district. So courier availability management, resource management. And it also keeps track of the availability to determine, and the software uses a different algorithm. So this is point number 5 there, bullet point number 5. The software uses a different algorithm to determine whether there are sufficient couriers online, again related to courier management or resource management. And if there are not, then the software invites additional couriers to make themselves available in that particular area. In the meantime, customers will be warned of any expected delay. So as you can see, all of the important aspects of the management, demand management, dealing with the customer, communicating with the customer, informing the customer that there can be a delay, providing options to the customer, communicating with the couriers, telling them that this particular area has no couriers. If you go there, you might get a few additional delivery orders, few additional assignments, etc. So managing that aspect, dealing with the restaurants, informing the restaurant, all of that is centrally managed, centrally supervised in a IT sense, is through this data center, managing capacity, which is the first function. The second function is managing operations. The data center manages the entire process of ordering and delivering food from the customer's initial order until the food has been delivered. And we will look at it from the flowchart that has been provided. Diagram 1 below is a simplified version of the data flows that occur when a customer orders food using the app. In this case, the order will be collected and delivered by Snackwheel's courier. So let's take a look at this flowchart. What happens? So firstly, you must understand the overview. I mentioned earlier that there are 4 main hubs, right? 4 main points of contact in this highly integrated IT system. That is the 4 images you see: the data center, customer smartphone, restaurant tablet, and courier smartphone. 4 points of contact. How does the data move? Let's see. First, the customer places the order, number 1. Then Snackwheel sends the order to the restaurant, number 2. So data center communicates with the restaurant tablet at that point. Then the restaurant tablet communicates back to the data center by the form of restaurant accepting the order and providing the expected dispatch time and asking Snackwheel to arrange delivery. Then what does the data center do? It parallelly, it sends a message to the customer with the estimated delivery time through the app, while 4B, courier receives details of pickup and delivery address. So once the restaurant confirms the order acceptance and informs of the estimated time, the data center simultaneously sends 2 messages, one to the customer and one to the courier. That is 4A and 4B. Then what happens is 5. Restaurant confirms the dispatch of the order, right, at that point, and courier confirms collection of order from restaurant. So once the courier receives the message, the courier goes to the restaurant. At that point, when the courier receives the delivery from the restaurant, courier informs the data center. While the restaurant also simultaneously informs the data center saying, we've dispatched the order. The order has been collected. That's 5A and 5B. Then the sixth point is that courier's location is tracked by the smartphone as the courier moves from the restaurant to the customer. Its location is tracked by the smartphone GPS every 2 minutes until arrival at customer's address. Delivery is confirmed when the food is handed to the customer. And finally, number 7, the data center sends a message to the customer informing that the system is showing delivery, and customer is asked to provide feedback through the application. And that is how you have the data flow across these 4 points of contact in this highly integrated IT system. Let's take a look at the important points. So during this entire process, the data center records significant amounts of data. I was talking about big data briefly. It is better to definitely, it is a must that you reflect and revise your big data management and data strategy aspects of E3. For example, the company has a substantial database of data relating to delivery times, customer satisfaction responses, ordering patterns, and so on. It's analyzed, or the data is analyzed extensively to give the company detailed insights into, for example, the impact of bad weather on delivery times. Secondly, the data center maintains detailed records of customer feedback and of the activity on individual customer accounts. That data can be used to target customers who have not ordered recently, perhaps by emailing a discount voucher. So that's sort of recovering customers, right? Customer reacquisition, we generally call it in the customer management cycle, reacquiring customers through emailing a discount voucher, etc. So all of that can also be done through this data center software because it maintains detailed information about customer behavior patterns, activity on individual customers, etc. Snackwheel's data center also processes payment requests from customers' banks and credit card companies and maintains records of payments due to restaurants net of commissions. So that's an important part because that is missing in this data flow. But something that I looked at in the industry understanding in the video, if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. And at the end of the video, I included a couple of different flowcharts from practical software development companies who provide software services to these kind of food delivery application companies, where they talk about how the commission is deducted and the payment is processed. The net payment is processed from the company like Snackwheel or Uber Eats to the restaurant partner. So that is an important aspect which is done through the data center. All right, let's now take a look at the resources management capabilities. So I've been using this term on and off, resources management. And when I mean resources, it's mostly the couriers and the restaurants who provide a view on the demand that they can fulfill through this entire process. So how does Snackwheel software, which is the software attached to the data center predominantly, but has capabilities to communicate with the restaurant app, customer tab, or restaurant tab, customer app, and the courier app, right? So this software is a highly sophisticated software. It has to be taken care of really, really well, really effectively. This software may have to select the most efficient allocation of orders, allowing for the location of available couriers and the demand at any given branch at the time of receiving the order. So it would be very difficult from a human perspective, for a person to do this, from a allocation of order, allocation of couriers, allocation of deciding which branch is closest, etc. So the software takes care of that aspect. And this is when customers are located within the range of more than one branch of any given restaurant chain. We always talked about how, for example, earlier we talked about how Taste Burger has multiple branches in a certain town. And if such a situation arises and there's a customer who has like 3 branches around, then the software will have to decide you can't dispatch the same order to 3 restaurants. That would be counterproductive and loss-making ultimately. So what you do is you select the best. It's easier to than sending the order to all 3 and asking them who can order at what time, because when a restaurant gets an order, it estimates the delivery time, right? It estimates the preparation time actually. So what one option that you can do is that you send the order, you SOS the order to all the 3 restaurants, and then they will confirm the estimated delivery time, at which point you can confirm looking at the list. But something better than that is to not send all 3, not inform all 3, but at the point of receiving the order from the customer, you use your software, you use your advanced IT capabilities, algorithmic capabilities to estimate which restaurant is the best suited for this delivery and inform only them. This will reduce the hassle, the miscommunication chances elegantly and at a very high level. So that's what the software has done. For example, Baguetto has several branches in some city centers, and so it may be necessary to decide which will be useful to fulfill a lunch order. If a customer happens to be located in one of the few areas that does not have a local branch of each of the restaurant chains, then the app will restrict the customer's choice to chains that are within the delivery range. And the app also takes opening hours into account. For example, Bonigan's branches close at 6 p.m. and so customers cannot place orders after that time. So it takes account of everything, right? Peak times, demand availability, courier availability, whether the restaurant is open, closed, everything. All right, so when we looked at the system or the data flow, we realized that there are 4 hubs across which there are 3 communication channels: data center to restaurant tablet, data center to courier phone, data center to customer phone. So these are the 3 direct channels of communication that are happening through the data center. So firstly, we are going to look at the data center versus the restaurant tablet aspect of this communication, that is reflective of elements or data flows 2, 3 and 5a, which you can, when you get access to this document, you can easily pick from the extracted portion here. They say that the data center runs a software package that was originally designed to support online retail. And that's one reason that you should have a general understanding about online retail, because food delivery is a sub-segment, right? It's a sub-segment of online retail, like online grocery retail, online delivery, in this whole very, very advanced and very large area of online retail. This aspect is a sub-segment, which is a good thing from a research perspective, because if you understand online retail well, it's very easy to understand food delivery. Package was recommended by a third-party IT consultancy whose programmers adapted the software to meet Snackwheel's needs. And the software package downloads customer orders to a tablet in each restaurant from which deliveries are made. And the software in each tablet then uploads the order to the restaurant's own systems. Enabling that upload was complicated by the fact that each of the chains served by Snackwheel had a different system. So they are referring to possibly the POS or the IT system, that the backend IT system they're using to manage the orders, print out invoices, etc. So apparently, the restaurant chains, all the 5 of them, had 5 different ones. That made this process a little more complicated than they would have probably planned. But the fact that only 5 were chosen and only 5 partners exist, they managed and they tolerantly, patiently went through with it. Enabling the tablets to interact with restaurant systems prevents the inefficiency that would otherwise have arisen. True, we already looked at examples. I talked to you about that example of SOSing all the 3 restaurants and picking the best one, rather than and how, compared to that, how picking the best one initially is better. So the tablets continuously interacting allows data to be collected. With that data collection, historical patterns can be developed, trends can be developed, data can be analyzed. And based on that historical trends and patterns, which can be used in data analysis, big data management capabilities, trend analysis, all sorts of intelligence aspect, business intelligence aspects, you can determine various decision critical elements that will help your business to run smoother. Restaurant staff would have had to constantly check the tablet screen in order to tell whether any delivery orders had been received. I think another important point at this stage is to also remember this restaurant tablet end of the software has two options. One, you can operate it standalone, or you can integrate it with the POS system of the company, the point of sale system of the restaurant. Even that capability, because I've seen restaurants where you have the systems, two different, one tablet, one POS, and small locations, right? One staff member, and they have a hard time because they have to switch between these two. And sometimes when they get an order, and especially if it's a restaurant which gets a lot of delivery orders, then you have to type in every invoice into the smart tab that is provided by Snackwheel and the POS system of the company. So you can't miss, you have to do both. Now in such a setting, the best thing would be to integrate it, to integrate the POS with the delivery, where when you enter the details to the POS system, it automatically inputs the data and manages the data flow, the rest of the operations end of it for the Snackwheel communication or for the food delivery communication as well. Another point to think about in terms of efficiency. Snackwheel owns the rights to use the package. So just like how we purchase software, but it must pay a license fee for any tablets that are added to the system. An IT consultancy conducts any routine maintenance on the system in return for a fee. Perfect. So that's the restaurant versus data center end of the software. The second is data center versus the customer device. So the smartphone that you hold, right? Your app, how that communication happens. That's 1, 4A and 7. 1, 4A and 7, which you can easily pick from this particular extracted image. Let's take a look at it. Snackwheel's in-house IT staff. So this was not a third-party recommendation. This was an in-house development. And they developed an app that can be downloaded from the company's website and now possibly Play Store, Google Play Store, App Store, etc. The restaurant chains are responsible for updating menus and opening hours, accessing their own separate files at the data center. This ensures that customers have the latest information about product availability and pricing. So the restaurant takes care of the input aspect of data, but it's done purely for the purpose of viewing from the customer's end. So the customer can have an updated view on what is available, what is not. The information that is shared with the customer regarding estimated delivery times is based on data provided by the software package that powers interaction with the restaurant chain. So the delivery time estimations that is shared with the customer, when the restaurant provides that estimate, it's immediately shared with the customer. That is done, or that is powered by the software package or the end of the software package that has capabilities of communication between the restaurant chain and the data center. So the restaurant first communicates that to the data center, then the data center communicates that to the customer. That's how it works. In fact, that's yeah. So when you see 3.3 in that diagram, where the restaurant accepts the order and provides the expected dispatch time, that has nothing to do with the customer's smartphone. That immediately from the restaurant tablet comes to the data center. Then the data center, pay attention to 4A, data center communicates to the customer this particular estimated delivery time. It's important because we want to understand exactly which device is communicating what information. That can be an important aspect, because if you misinterpret this, if you misunderstand, that's why I've broken it into 3 so that you can easily absorb it. If you misunderstand a particular information, if you think, for example, that the restaurant tablet directly communicates with the customer, the restaurant tablet estimates the delivery time and directly communicates with the customer's smartphone or with your smartphone, that is a complete misunderstanding and a misinterpretation of the information provided and an inaccurate assessment of how this IT system works. Everything goes through the data center. That's the best thing to remember. Everything goes through the data center. Perfect. So with that thorough understanding, we move to the final element, the data center versus the courier smartphone. So this is the courier, independent contractor, full-time courier, 4B, 5B, and 6. Again, extracted for you. It's a very straightforward aspect, and this was developed by the in-house IT staff. So I told you earlier, when we were talking about Snackwheel's employee base, we don't know how many total employees are there, but we do know that there's an in-house IT staff, IT team, which is very critical, which I believe the CIO, Joel Williams, is in charge of. So the in-house IT staff developed an app that updates couriers about collections and deliveries and tracks courier locations. Simple, right? 4B, 5B, and 6. They receive details of pickup, they confirm the collection of order from the restaurant, and their location is tracked through the smartphone. So it's not a very complicated end of things. Sometimes we feel, because the courier is the face of the food delivery system, right? So when we engage with couriers, we believe that, my goodness, that end, managing the courier must be very difficult, or the software end of things must be quite complicated. They're the mobile element of this whole thing. The customer is static, the data center is static, the restaurant is static, but the courier is the one which moves. But when you really think about the software capabilities, the least complicated aspects of the software and the communication channel is between the data center and the courier. How the world works, right? On that note, I think we've marked the end of this segment, the second segment of the pre-scene Snackwheel, or company understanding. We will be looking at the third segment through the principal risk register in the next video. So until then, happy learning, and I hope you benefited from this video. All the very best, and good luck.